Hello and welcome as it is the second day of September 2019, that of Labor Day and Monday. Welcome to the channel, all bets, trades, and of the like within each's own risk and their own reward. Alrighty then, let's take a look first at Bitcoin against the US dollar. Looking at this with the key Fibonacci lines in here, which the biggest two is the 63.41 and the 98.14. This represents 61.8% exponentially from the key high of around near 20,000 and the low a little above 3,100. From that point, no resistance at all, no support at all at the 38.2%. On the 61.8%, it took resistance on the way there, but nothing at that point, and monstrous support thus far at that level, with resistance twice at the 76.4% level at 12,930. And as I've been stating for the entire summer, that until it breaks above this range, so really been since the start of July, until it breaks this range, it's just neutral. There's really that little to cover. If you're playing the range bound market, resistance has been a little tough for selling in the sense that we haven't had an exact straight level that has stayed, because 13,000, okay here, but we've been making a lot of lower highs as we have this lower high here on August the 20th, August 19th area. And then this little bit of a lower high here on the 26th. That high comes in at 10,680. So far, our high today is 10,487. And it's 10,395 right now. It's got up to the 18 average of highs. This is enough to flatten the band out, neutralizing it still more and more. I mean, an enormous amount of support. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times it has supported this level. And really only 3 times it has any kind of resistance near 12,930, with the last one being really just that, near it. When we take a look at this on the 3-hour term, we have a lot of green candles up in a row. There's 59 minutes left, or an hour left rather. It is 7 p.m. Eastern as I'm doing this. An hour until the close, and a sideways move after really like one amazing move. Before that, well, each one a little bit better. This one really good because it was 1 2/3% almost. And this one was a little over 3% of a gain within these two periods. Starting at around 11 o'clock, we see at the 1-hour time frame, we can see it left this level of resistance at about the 1300-hour mark, or 1 o'clock Eastern time, where 4 consecutive really good green candles up, with the first and last being the best, and the last being the best of the 4, and of course the first and the last being the best 2 of the 4. And since then, 2 completed pause periods, as we're now 1 minute into this period, but 2 of it just pausing within this area. So when it comes down to it, markets go up, markets go down. I don't know if it's going to be available to get above the highs. If it is, we'll be looking for more resistance, probably getting above 11,000. But we're at an area where, okay, let's see if you're able to do much in here, because we've established a nice level of resistance on the 8. And stuff like that, holding key levels, very, very important. And we'll see. I mean, we're at this level of conjunction resistance. It could range even up to 10,800 area. But if there's any correctionary moves, 18 holding is going to be very, very important. Let's transition this into the BTC dominance. And what we're seeing is an interesting breakout, which I've been talking about for the last few days. And no surprise it's happening when you have what we see preceding this move higher and the break of this level of resistance near the 72 handle. That is now back to the August 9th high. Okay, now what? Well, maybe we find resistance here, but overall, this could very easily go higher. Now, in a bullish situation, I usually see 3 scenarios that can take place here. Number 1, it just doesn't stop. And then you usually have a significant break above resistance. Here was one of those cases in here. Number 2 is you do find resistance. And this is on a bullish level. So this is obviously bullish and bearish to go down. But that means it comes down, probably comes back to a key area. I would assume this is a key area in here. It would obviously match up probably within the 18 band. and a previous area. So you have a comeback and then the break. That's the second. And the third one is just a lot of sideways consolidation around here for a several amount of periods, 4, 5, 6, even a couple or three. And then, of course, a break happens. That's why I call it one of those spots that I'm unsure of, because I realize it could even be a top and we could be something like this. And it could do that. As I'm seeing it, though, okay, we've come up to this level. Most likely, one of the three scenarios that I mentioned is more probable than everything else. And that we do, in fact, come up and make a new key level to the upside. Now, that's not the time frame I want to really go by. I think the 3 day is, yeah, this is the one. And when we look at this in here, we have after this long sideways consolidation, we have a high, we have a high, we have a high, and we have a high, which would be the case. So I'd be expecting that as this is planet with the 18 in here, it should at least come up and really probably up to about 75 or 3/4 of a percent dominance is where it looks like the intended target should at least get up to around this, even the 76, maybe 77. And then when looking at this on the short term, there's been really no surprise. The 8 hour just showing all of the strength amongst the 18 average. And earlier I put up this trend line right in here, how it congested amongst the previous multiple hit level of resistance in here. And then there's the exitation of the 18 like that. And it took a while. You could have said it any one of these times in here, going back to the last day of August. Oh, this is ready to go. And it never did go until the second day of September. So then, with that being said, we have Litecoin up like 1 point something percent when Bitcoin's up 6. So it's down like 4% against BTC, like a lot of coins are, as shown within that Bitcoin dominance. Now with Litecoin, I can say, well, it's holding in there. It's starting to show strength at the 18 highs, which I really don't like saying that too much in a downtrend. I really like saying that in an uptrend. But as it is, that's when I mean, anything where you're nowhere near the lows, you spend a decent amount of time, at least you get above the 18 consistently. So you spend a decent amount of time above the 18 in that sense. You are really finding like the support very at the 18 highs, barely below it, stuff like that, which is what it's starting to show in here. And it's been a decent amount of time, August the 29th, which I guess isn't that decent. It's about 4 days since the bottom. But since coming up to this correctionary move, we haven't seen any decline. We didn't decline the 18 average of lows. It hasn't really had any price down resistance at the 18 highs, but it has had resistance in the two pauses, and now it's breaking up from the pause with the new high. Okay, when I see that, that really tells me that we probably should come up maybe at least to this high, maybe around 71, 72. At least to there. And what we do after that, well, time will only tell because, well, this is a key thing because I can see that this is a most certainly a significant resistance line. And in such, it's either that of the probable event that very high that we go up to this point. But when it happens, it to me will resolve one of two things. And that is very large resistance. I mean very large resistance. Because if it resists in here, there can be another significant decline. I'm going to do so, I'll show later, which is like a minute or so, within the Poloniex tether chart, because I got some interesting Fibonacci numbers in there. Or it's a failed breakdown. So resistance, which means come up to this point and then start to fall down, and when you break down below 63, we're probably going to break later below 50 or 40 something. And that is why I would consider it big resistance. And again, I'll show you soon after that. But a failed move, that's when we would quickly, and within this, we can see it's been several periods of getting up there. So quickly would be within the next 4 to 6 periods probably. And there's 3 per day. So the next couple of days to get up to this area and most likely get above it, really support in this area and resist somewhere in the congestion area, which would be around low 70s to 75. That would be more the signs I would be looking for. That's when I get to draw that little square line in here below a key horizontal line. And yeah, that's really that. So then let's take a look at this on the Polonia side of view. Okay, so I got a line in here at 63.62, which magically, it's just luck. When it comes down to it, it just stopped going down and has definitely been support now. Via that of time, mainly. I can see on the 8 hour here all this stuff about trying to get above it. We've had declining 18, a little bit of sideways. Just I think I already went over that. On the hourly time frame, it's progressing well, but we can see it's come down here. 1, 2, even 3 here. Failed liftoff support is what I would call this in here. 4 levels of support. So far, this has been successful liftoff support down here at 64.15 on yesterday's session in the afternoon. It's now technically and barely got above this level at 66 and 2/3, and really, for that matter, yeah, 66 and a half. So it's now barely above it. So holding and staying above this key level, short term, that's a decent sign nonetheless. But like I stated, it looks the way it's going that we are now going to come up to the low 70s. And then thereafter that, if it goes up there and starts to go back down, what's really important is that 61.8% from this low of about 62 low change and whatever the high happens to be. And that's a monstrous correction because if it fails here at the 63, then we're going to be talking about a 23.6% test, which I suppose I could calculate. The numbers that come up will be relatively in that area of what you see with a 198 height change, the 126 half, and the 63 and 2/3. So I'm just going to put the approximate 22 and 3/4 and 355. And around 43.51 would be the number, approximately, ballpark area. Alrighty then. And then there we go, a ratio tree. I have been accumulating a lot of theta today. And I want this is interesting that this alert came up because this does transition into where I wanted to go next, which is altcoin trading and the altcoins in general. Okay, so what just happened here? I'm selling. Come on, show me theta going up. I guess suppose because this would be selling theta to buy go. So either theta has been having a good run. How long is this up from? 1655 and I mean, I had to do a force buy earlier on theta because I seen that the sellers were not coming in. And well, I've made 3 ratio trades with theta. The first 2, I put a buy order and let the sellers come to me. And the last one, I tried to do that and I barely got any at all. And then I just had to do the force buy or take or become the taker rather than the maker. But the alert, it's 11:45. What I do in here, I see it's moved up like this. I don't want to move this until I can see 11 and 3/4. So it's technically barely below that. I'm just gonna go a little bit higher now and just maybe just put a new alert in and let it come back to me if something happens. All right then. So let's take a look at theta. It's who did what? This is interesting. 1100 they bought it up to. I mean, the last I bought was 1060. I mean, that's what I spent just like recently. Where was my last buy? I was trying to buy 1050. Where's the 1050 close? Yeah, so 1838. That 1050 close, that was me. And then I was forced to buy it around 1060. It might have been in this 1854 minute somewhere around there. This is where I put my force buy in. Oh, what went on here? How many sold on the volume? 147,000. So that's about 16 grand worth. So somebody wanted to buy a decent amount quickly. Okay. How big was that volume relative to the previous periods before? Okay. But as we can see, this has been in a consistent downtrend. And at some point, it's got to stop going down. And when that point will be, I don't know. But again, I've been just looking to try to increase the amount of theta. But same thing with gold. I've been getting those are the two coins I've been buying like crazy lately over the last couple of days. Is well, really today and yesterday, yes, is theta and the gold chain because this is up to like 1300 now at 1060 back to levels last seen here in August the 15th. But overall, when it comes down to it, I look at this trading overall as if I'm winning and I'm losing and I'm losing and I'm winning. Yeah, and well, two winnings, two losings. Well, I'm winning because I am flipping coins back and forth and making extra coins. So that's that winning section. However, the volatility hasn't been anything spectacular. So a lot of times I'll go up and say, okay, as far as my trading game system is concerned, you put two coins together, like say Theta and Wabi, Theta and Lumen, Theta and Litecoin, Theta and whatever. Over a period of time, you could be having gains like say over a year. You could have gains of between say 55% to but better than 10x. That's the potential in 1 year by flipping coins back and forth, and that's a very volatile range of like 1.5x and 10x. But the way the trading has been, the profits have been closer to allocating long term 55% net gains in a year, which is fine and dandy. But that just means like let me just go to the Litecoin theta ratio. And it's got an interesting pattern here on the 3 hour. We have a level of resistance here at 613. And I sold pretty much near the top. I think I got 620, which is what the top was. But this is what I just recently sold, as this was the forced buy on the theta. I sold Litecoin against Bitcoin, then I put my buy order for 1050, and I ended up getting about like 1050. Is it the 10? Might have been 1057 that I bought. Either that or 1060. But anyway, that's it's at this level in here from this previous mark. So you can call this it's like the inverted head and shoulders, double bottom. But this downtrend has went sideways, has established even more of this resistance. And I got these two lines to indicate if it goes above here at near a little over 670. Well, then I'm going to sell some theta and I'm going to sell some Litecoin and buy theta, buy some more of it. If it goes down to the previous level of support here, then I'm going to turn theta into Litecoin. So basically about a 10% move on either side of the direction. I'll take 7-8%, but which is pretty much what I got in my last trade. But I want to get at least 10. But I want to get like these 20, 30, 40% and better moves. I want to see some of these markets have like 100+% days, like on the Theta coin, and having just the monstrous moves, even the 50, 60, 70% moves on Litecoin, where you just like, oh my goodness, how am I going to make these trades? I'm going to have to take 20 minutes just to decide, okay, how much do I want to allocate? What kind of strategies do I want to use moving forward? How do I want to play my volatility moving forward? Those are the type of situations that I haven't been really dealing with. As either the situation here, as I've shown with the Bitcoin dominance. Well, either this is just one of those low points, and we've had these before. We've only had a small sample size of time with Bitcoin, so there hasn't been too many. And that's like, okay, so are we going to do it again where these things just go way down, way up, all that sort of deal? Meaning either it's not going to work for the altcoins, period, whether Bitcoin wins or not, that's irrelevant here. And we're just going to keep on having these declines. That's just how it's going to be, and that's it. And I don't think that's going to happen. And if Bitcoin's not going to work, then, well, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm winning, losing, losing, winning. Well, that's the second losing part. Is as I've been gaining, like, oh, I'm up 25% over the last 2 months on this cross, or the last 3 months, I'm up 25% as far as my coins going up. Yeah, and the market's down 40%, 50%. That's kind of still a loss. Yeah, it is. So that's the whole losing part. But winning, I have done very, very well overall. My whole net play has guaranteed me, as I look at it, net winning. And it's going to come down to it, regardless of how it goes, for me. At least how as I look at it. Either the crypto thing works, and I think it will, and we're going to see all these immaculate prices have their moves. Probably going to have only a short period of time to get amazing profits to profit take. Meaning, like I showed Litecoin at 60, meaning it goes up to like say maybe it goes up to 280 or 350 or 400, and then it just that price is only available for a day or so or two, and then next thing you know we're down to 100, and we're going to stay there for a while. That could very easily happen. Theta goes up to maybe a buck 50, $2, and it might go right back down to a quarter. Those are the type of volatile moves that could very easily take place. But yeah, when it comes down to it, the whole thing is going to be if everything works out, I'm going to look at the silver that I accumulated and realize, and gold too. Man, I could have waited and got a better deal by just keeping it in crypto. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. I'll just buy more, and that's exactly what I'll do, and I'll like that. And then it's going to be bittersweet if cryptos don't work out. And then I'm going to look at all the silver and gold that I was able to accumulate at least. Well, at least I protected myself in diversification. I probably could have got more metals. So I'll be thinking if this goes way up, I bought way too much gold and silver. But if cryptos don't work, I'll be saying I didn't buy enough when I had the chance. It's just going to come down to it either way for me. Here's another chart. This is NEO, and these coins are going down, of course. Way back when, this coin was a $200 coin at the key top. And then it has a key low of $45, key high of 90. Well, the last key high, which took place at the start of June when Bitcoin started to break out, was about $19. So it's lost half its value. It's now at about 9. But it was at the start of the year at about 5. Okay, well, how do these games work? And a lot of these coins have this exact same kind of look. This is really, really easy to determine that it's either ready to go big or bad in the sense, but either way, huge volatility. We've established this level of resistance. So you got key high way up there, again near 200, and this key low. So therefore, what you need to do in the reversal of this whole big downtrend is fill some of this empty space, fill some of the last few remaining lower highs, although there really wasn't too many in here. So far, it just got to match this level of congestion, but at least get up to this last area here, which it did. So it did the at least situation. Okay. And then you come back down. Well, like I've stated before in spots where you have a huge move, and then you have that first significant rally from the bottom. It's very important to hold that 61.8%, and this low is about 5 2/3, and the high is about 18 8/9. 5 2/3. So the key levels would be holding, it's a 38.2 that I need to hold. That represents 61.8% down because that's working its way up. So $9 and a little bit below. Well, I guess that's where we stand. Really, yeah. So this is it's huge. We're at that must-hold area now. I mean, it could pierce below, and obviously any break below any type of short-term support right now, this next leg lower is, well, I mean, that's like the must-hold area, big time, to hold where we stand now with this fib. So making the higher low is important. But if it is able to make a higher low somewhere in this area here, then getting out above here, making a move where you make a higher low to this one, get back up to establish previous level of resistance or the highs. That if you're able to get above it, then you can start talking about filling some of this empty space, and then maybe make a room for the next area. So let's just assume that this is a 38.2% move from this low to this high, with this high coming in about, we'll go 190. And take a look at the Fibonacci numbers this way. So we have $5.66 here, and $190, and you have to put two more zeros in. That's the big volatility along the whole way. So 38.2 is at 21 bucks. Oh, really? You can see, actually, it kind of pierced below. Did I get the numbers right? Yeah, 566. I don't think 180 would change much. I just, normally it doesn't do that, which is odd that I do this. I mean, 180 really was 21.22. I guess this is just trying to fudge around mathematics to make it work. The top is 21, so it's one of those rare pierce belows, but it's pretty much hitting that little area. But it also does tell me that if we break above this, it's going to give me the objective. I wouldn't be as strong for the pierce. I can see it right here. The number should be here. That looks like where 61.8 is. It's this area of previous resistance, and that's around 47. So the 61 comes in at 48. It just happens to work out that way. That would be the next intended target on a break of this level of resistance. But if this doesn't hold, then we come down in here. Yeah, this previous support could be just that as far as holding in support, or previous low could be support, because I've seen double bottoms before, and a double bottom is basically that. And for that, you have to have a low, a key high, have a 100% retracement-ish to previous low, and then retrace 100% again to previous high. We'll see how it works out, but this is more cup and handle when you find the higher low if it's able to do that. But if you do break below this, I'd have to think it's going to at least come down to about here. So I'd be looking at about $2 and change. And who knows after that, maybe it's working its way to nothing. That could easily be one of its possibilities. But as I mentioned here, this $60 or so, or 50, yeah, around this previous level at about 50 and change. Getting above here, well, we got two more key levels. We got previous high at around close to 200, and if it gets above this, then we're talking about several X moves. We're talking about around $1,000 maybe, 800, 1,000, 1,200, because these things go so hog wild crazy. Or I could even be saying that, oh, 1,000, 800, 1,000's like about a 6X move. That's pretty weak, because a 6X move from, well, 5 would be like 30, so that's just like a small. Maybe that is a conservative move, talk, but this is wild volatility in the crypto, which is an exact reason why I would want to be a part of it, because, well, that means you're going to have extreme type of fluctuations amongst your bankroll. And if you're looking to get into cryptocurrencies, you only need to have a certain percentage of your bankroll really to be able to quote unquote set you off for amazing type gains, in the sense that, well, if you have a situation of 1 unit and you have these monstrous moves, you could easily see in bad situations how your portfolio in a downtrend might be where 0.22 or something like that. Could even be lower. And then in an uptrend, maybe you get like 10, 20, 30x gains, and even higher than that. It could even be like 200x gains, because if, say, for example, the cryptocurrency prices in Bitcoin go up, say, well, we're at 10,000, so you go into, say, 80,000, there's an 8x move. And you're able to overperform the market, because altcoins kick ass, and even if you just hold altcoins, you can overperform the market, at least from this point on, big time. And even trading it back and forth, you'd increase that number higher. But if you're able to overperform Bitcoin and maybe at a level of, say, like 10x, then you're talking about making this 80 times overall gains. Which means if you put, like, say, 5-10% of your portfolio into cryptos, your investing portfolio, and next thing you know, you have this type of move. Now this comes by far your major, primary, largest investment, and it's probably going to be a good decision to turn that into other things. And let's put a quick new chart in to conclude this video's time up, or conclude it up. Silver. Well, that might be one of those things, but I've totally forgot today. I mean, I didn't forget it's a holiday. I did the last time in August. I had so many stuff planned sometime in the middle of August on a Monday, and then I find out it's a holiday in the middle of the day. Oh, Civic Day, I think it is. Okay. So therefore, the markets really don't trade. If we look at this on the 15-minute time frame, we can see here 13:30, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. This thing just stopped going, and then we opened at its normal time here. As it goes, the futures that I have, it didn't even trade at all, really. So as it is, though, silver is holding in there really good. But short term, we can see a lot of the sideways action in here, getting a little bit choppy overall, which tells you that on the more longer term, you've had an amazing move from point low to point high, and it's just been holding them sideways. In the 3 hour, it's been doing spectacular and staying within this 18 averages. It's about maybe a little more than a dozen periods, a dozen and maybe a handful more of 3 hour sessions where it's just staying within the 18. It's came off of 2 periods within staying amongst the highs. A little bit of a correctionary move on this 3 hour period, but just correcting sideways within it is very, very nice. So we'll see how this does throughout the week, but the precious metals are definitely a topic we're talking about as it's come up to this level of resistance in here. And the gold to silver ratio on the weekly chart time frame is obviously broken down below the support. Down below here, resisting here at this point, and then just a significant week that broke down below in here, which on the daily chart, yeah, and I just red for the second time recently. Had it here from July 15th through the 24th for 8 days, and then going sideways in here, and then we have decent sized declines, 1.33%, 1.9, and then it lost 1.1, and then a smaller loss the next day of 0.22. But it was followed up with a loss here of 1.13, and then just barely hanging in there at the lower end at this point. But because of this, you can see it hit this low 3 sessions ago. That you're going to have a little bit of sideways consolidation, but you're still at the lower end of this. So when you look at this on a 3 hour term time frame, all you're seeing within that is this little move up here, then just consolidating, showing weakness on the 18 lows. And I find this stuff really interesting. But now that the holiday's over, now that the school season is beginning, at least in Canada, kids go, or Ontario, Canada anyway, kids go back to school tomorrow morning. Congratulations to the adults and the mums and dads. All righty then. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.